Oh my god, she's a weirdo.
Hello, 'tis I, fat cow, and a very sleepy Pebbles. Before I start, I'd like to point out that this is my favourite one so far, and I got it from Tesco's for £2.50, which, quite frankly, is a effing bargain as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, Foodie, as I'm recording this, is currently live. Something about I can't wait to leave. Now, obviously, I have absolutely no idea what she's waffling on about, but I'm sure we'll find out by the end of the day. And if she says something that's worth commenting on, please let her say something worth commenting on. I'll make the appropriate response. However, there is something I do want to point out that has been mentioned many times by Foodie in the last week on her lives, and that's her desire, not necessarily the right word, intention, not necessarily the right word either, but the possibility of her getting a part-time job. Now, ignoring the fact that Foodie isn't a particularly employable individual, the only job she could get would be the same sort of jobs that Rosie gets, which is customer service or data entry from home. Additionally, the ability for Foodie to actually commit to the hours required for this job that would be necessary to keep the job is somewhat questionable, let's say. But whether she's employable or not, and whether she can keep a job, and whether she has the discipline to stick to a working from home job, isn't why I'm talking about it. That's all hypothetical. The reason I'm mentioning the fact that Foodie keeps mentioning that she might get a part-time job is this. I think it's a setup for another grift. Imagine you're a beezer. I know it's incredibly difficult, but imagine Foodie somebody you actually genuinely want to see on the daily online. Yet again, that is incredibly difficult. But imagine we're talking about somebody you do legitimately want to see every day online. And then imagine this person saying, I'm going to have to get a part-time job, guys, because money's really tight, so I'm not going to be able to make content and go live quite so often. And I'm sorry about that, but that's just how it is, especially considering yesterday's, I know I'm digressing in the kind of imagining bit, how much I spoke about how difficult life is in the West because everything is so expensive and we're all trying to keep up with the Joneses. Actually, no, not all of us. I couldn't care less what other people are achieving in life. I just want to be happy, and I want the people I love to be happy, and I want my pets to be happy. I also want everybody who comes under that umbrella to be healthy as well, and I'm fine with just that. But, as I love to say, I digress. But imagine your favourite content creator suddenly says they won't be able to create that much content anymore because things are difficult financially and they're going to have to find part-time employment. Wouldn't you want to help that creator be able to continue creating content by, I don't know, maybe giving them donations? You can see where I'm going with this, can't you? Foodie, one is going on about how difficult life is in the West because of the cost of things, and suddenly talking about probably getting a part-time job, which she doesn't want, has no desire for, doesn't even qualify for, and has, again, no intention whatsoever of doing. But she's putting it out there because she wants the people that are currently funding her trip to then fund her lifestyle once she's there, because she doesn't earn enough to keep the kind of lifestyle she wants once she's there. And she has every intention of getting her beezers to pay for her life. Literally pay for her life for as long as she can get away with it. And the needing a job because things are that difficult, or will be that difficult, is the latest introduction to the grift. Everybody is struggling, foodie. Everybody. You make more money than a lot of people. So why not just lower your spending? Your food bills, your takeaway bills alone probably come to more than most people earn in a month. If money was legitimately that difficult, surely you could cut down the amount of takeaways you're going to be having. You know, cooking from home is a lot cheaper. Wouldn't you agree? But no. What your beezers are going to be doing is one of two things. Either funding your food addiction while your earnings pay for the amenities and the facilities and your day-to-day life and outgoings beyond your food addiction, or you're paying for your food addiction and they're paying for you to exist in Canada at a level that's significantly higher than the majority of people as well. You don't settle, do you, foodie? You're not humble in any way at all, despite your claims. You're an entitled thingy. Now, I don't comment on amberlynnreid that often, but I do have some theories about current things. Amberlynn published a statement retracting things she has said about Emily, and then deleted all the video evidence of her saying the things that she's now claiming she didn't say. Additionally, during the same time period, a lot of reaction channels are being privacy struck, and Emily herself is claiming to be getting harassed over the phone by somebody who claims to be a friend of Amber. Not only Emily, but Emily's family. What do I think of these two seemingly individual events? Firstly, the retraction of the claims Amber had previously stated about Emily. Going around social media is a claim that Emily has been fired. I think, personally, it hasn't got to that stage yet, but possibly an investigation is being conducted regarding the allegations that were made against Emily and her preferences, bearing in mind her profession. Now, it's a very delicate area because given her profession, and given her profession is specialising in psychiatry or psychology field, you cannot discriminate against somebody regarding their preferences in the workplace. People do, obviously, but you're not meant to. However, when you are in the field of psychiatry or therapy or helping people with mental issues, if your preferences bleed into a territory that is somewhat detrimental to other individuals, even if they are consensual, there would be concerns raised. So, I'm of the opinion that maybe the employer is investigating things, and the desire for these things to be eradicated off the internet, at least from the first source that many employees would go to, which would be the alleged partner of the employee. Yeah, I'm being vague. I know I'm being vague, and I might lose some people along this way, but you have to err on the side of caution when discussing these things. I don't know why I started washing windows. So, I believe Amber was encouraged to make that statement and to remove said evidence. Because if I was the employer and I knew about said allegations and I knew about the relationship said employee had had, my first port of inquiry would be the partner. This comes to the second thing, the privacy strikes and who I think is behind it. There's two ways this can go. Obviously, a lot of things indicate that this is something that's been done by Emily for the reasons I've just stated. However, knowing the mindset of a certain amber person, also knowing the willingness of a certain friend of Amber's to do the dirty work on their behalf when Amber is somewhat irked. It wouldn't surprise me if the individual behind these things is in fact, in my opinion, only my opinion, Madam Reid. Now, the reason I think this is because historically, when Miss Reid is irked at someone, she will go to some pretty desperate lengths to, one, to get information on them, two, act on that information, and three, be a bit of a narcissistic see you next Tuesday about the whole thing. Miss Reid is not somebody who lets sleeping dogs lie. And when her hand is forced to do something such as to retract a statement and eradicate all evidence of the statement, despite the fact she believes she's the victim and we're robbing her of her opportunity to get her side of the story across, even though it's bullshit, she will find sneakier, I went all squeaky then, sneakier ways to get at this person, to sully their reputation, to tarnish their name. Not that Emily's name needs any more tarnishing. It's pretty damn tarnished anyway, Amber. You legitimately think that Girl World is siding with Emily because we don't believe you? No. We're not siding with Emily. We're siding with evidence. We're siding with facts that happen to come from Emily. Emily could be a capybara for all I care. I love capybaras. I think they're great, but I don't know why I said that either. It's the information people are siding with. But you wouldn't understand that because your narcissism will not allow you. Again, I digress. Amber might be on a campaign to make Emily appear to be an unreliable narrator of the story by making Emily appear to be somebody who is targeting reaction channels, which is something Amber loves to do. She's very fond of punishing those who are not fawning at her feet. The privacy strikes. I don't know. They both sound wrong. Anyway, are new, but Amber has developed her MO somewhat, and she now has her trusty sidekick who is very well versed in the sneaky verse to help her and encourage her. Amber is not just taking a step back from this whole thing and relaxing and reflecting on things. No, she's trying to make the world see things through amber tinted glasses. So I personally am of the opinion that the person who is currently effing around with reaction channels is Miss Reid. Also, I'm hoping, really hoping, that the disappearance of Rarity, because now I was thinking that maybe Amber gave her away, but a lot of people were saying, who would she give it to? How would she do that, being in Wisconsin and only knowing Emily there? Because I really don't want to think about the alternative. What if, bear with me here, this is a conspiracy theory and a half, and nobody has to even give this the time of day, but it's my thought process because I don't want to entertain the idea that Miss Reid unalived Rarity. What if Amber gave the cat to her sidekick to give to somebody else? I have nothing to add to that. I'm hoping that this feeling I have about this is correct, because the alternative is just unfathomable. Anyway, Amber's doing something, but she's doing something very furtively and with the help of a third party. I'd bet my hat, if you can call it a hat, on it. And finally, on a personal note regarding the things I've been creating, it has been brought to my attention that while the majority of you greatly appreciate the things I'm making, a lot of you would prefer to be wearing stuff that doesn't feature the visage of either Foodie Beauty or her pay monthly hubby, for which I completely understand. So my request to you guys is this: if you like the style of something I've created, but would prefer the subject matter be something else, could you direct me as to what prefer the subject matter to be? I like creating stuff, and I like creating stuff that makes people happy. I understand very few of you want to wear a t-shirt with that face, even though it's one of the prettiest faces in girl world, across your chest. So what else can I create that you guys would want to wear? Anyway, have a great Saturday, you guys, and depending on what is being currently said, I may be